Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome. My name is Paul K, and this is Saturday Mornings Outdoors. This week, Canal Rats is the final sesh. I've compiled every episode this year for the spot checks on the mainland side, and this will complete a 2-year project of documenting the whole canal on the Cape Cod side and on the mainland side, all the fishing spots, the complete collection. So I don't think it's anywhere else on the web, and I worked hard on it. I hope you guys can appreciate it. It was a lot of fun for me too, and I bet you guys are getting a lot of fun out of it too. Anyone that's new to the canal and wants to come on down, that's really an introductory thing to where all the great fishing spots are, and that they're not just on the east and west ends of the canal. There's 7 miles there. So on the main page, there's a area called playlists, and I'll title it something like, you won't be able to miss it, Cape Cod Canal fishing spots, something like that. So I hope you like the compilation, and took me an effort to get there, and but we made it. And please like and subscribe. It really means a lot to the channel. And thank you guys so much for watching. See you. And what is good, y'all? So welcome to Saturday Mornings Outdoors. My name is Paul K, and in this edition we're going to be looking at maps, the best maps obtainable just strictly of the Cape Cod Canal. Very valuable asset that you can apply to your fishing the canal and planning about the canal, and get to know a mental picture in your mind. Miss Denise, shapely Miss Denise, says hi. And the lure I found last week, this is the wall of found. And this is all the lures I found at the canal. Most of them. Found, and found. These are collectible lures by some of the surf heroes of Massachusetts, Charlie Chinto, and there's a few assorted autographed lures that have now unfortunately passed on, but were legends of the Massachusetts surf fishing history. Tim Coleman's up there, and but anyway, so let's go look at some maps, and I'll show you what's available out there, and I'll even rate them in the level of their accuracy and their valuability. You got to get you one. All right, so here we go. These have given me countless years, if decades, of enjoyment. This is the dream book. These are what you look at trying to figure out a strategy of how to fish the canal, and the more you get to know it, all the pieces fit together, what's next to what the structure is like, where they're located, and so forth and so on. I know a lot of you guys are just visitors here, and you're only spending a week or two or even a day, but still, even at that, the maps are valuable. They're going to show you where. In my series that I'm doing, the spot checks, this brings it to life. It's showing you the physical spots from the map and what they look like, and I'm including fishing tips on how to fish them from the somewhat the knowledge that I have of it. So anyway, let's go. This is from the Cape Cod Canal Chamber of Commerce. This is online, and this is a pretty good map. It's very clear and succinct, and you can see the numbers are all marked out really well. It gives the names of a lot of the major spots, not all of them, but a lot of them. And this is available from the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce. It's downloadable. You can just look at it on your phone. This next one is from the Cape Cod Canal Army Corps of Engineers. All the time I'm hopping, go to the visitor centers and get you a map. This is the map you're going to get. As far as accuracy goes, this one is probably the most absolute pinpoint accurate. Though it only shows a few limited spots, enough to absolutely get you started. The reason why I keep recommending this as the ace beginner map is because it's so accurate. These are all your pole numbers, and they're spot on. And everywhere you see those little arrows, there's a name, Split Rock, the jungle, so forth and so on, and it's pinpointing where the holes are. So this is probably the most useful map, especially for a beginner, and it's extremely accurate. If it says, pole 265 for the jungle, it's pole 265. You'll be rest assured you're at the right spot. Next one is Canal Bait and Tackle. Now these maps cost money, and you pick these up and at the different bait shops. And this one's been around for a while. Lists many more spots, and it's really a valuable map as far as the different spots go. And you match the numbers up with the pole numbers that are listed. Or actually, this one. On this one, he doesn't list the pole numbers, but he does give much more spots to check. Now, this one's a brand new one. I'm pretty sure this one just came out in this year, 2025. This guy's name's Captain Seagull, Sport Fishing Chat. And anyone from this area, probably up and down the coast, all the way down to Florida, is familiar with this guy. What this guy does is let me see if I have another one of his. I do. I just want to show you this for a second. This is Boston Harbor, and what he does is he marks all the fishing spots. This is a kayak fishing map of Boston Harbor, and that's what makes him famous. This is just a basic nautical chart, gives all the depth and all that really cool stuff. I sit for hours looking at this stuff, looking at the depths, but he marks all the areas in red. These are the absolutely historic fishing spots, which are extreme. He's showing you exactly where the spots are. This guy's giving it up, and that's this side, and this is the other side of it. Same thing. This is just another part in Nantasket Beach and around here, Hull Gut, and it's Boston Harbor. So, but I'm just trying to introduce you of the style of the Captain Seagull Sport Fishing chart. He marks the charts out for you, and this, I'm pretty sure, is a NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, technical nautical map, and he just marked all the spots. These maps, just like the land maps by NOAA, if you remember the series I did on how to navigate with a compass on land, compass land navigation, it's the same best maps that our country has to offer. That's the USGS, United States Geological Survey maps. And don't worry about all this technical mumbo jumbo. I'm just giving you the brands so you can just pick out a good map. This is Captain Seagull. So anyway, to get back to the first one, I think this is new for 25, Cape Cod Canal. And once again, the same kind of way that he does it, but if you notice, he marks these little red spots, railroad bridge and sandbank, and all those fishing spots, he marks them with a red. He's showing you, oh, dude, he's showing you which, where all the spots are. And last but not least, the last map that I'll show to you is the holy grail of maps. I don't think these are even attainable anymore, but these are Cape Cod Charlie's maps. This was a bait shop, famous bait shop, been around for decades, run by a guy that really catches fish. And this guy's a fisherman, and in the canal. And why I say this is the holy grail is this guy gives it up. I mean, he shows you every single tip. There's a picture of him with looks like around a 40-ish, but he tells you what stage of tide to fish, what baits to use, when, what time of year, and then he gives up all little secrets and pole numbers of all the spots. And the thing is with this map is that, unfortunately, I shouldn't even have showed you this, but it is the holy grail. Because I don't think you can get it now. It's out of print. If you look online and see if you can find it, but it's CapeCodCanalFishing.com, but it'll say it doesn't exist anymore. But it gives a lot of information that really, to be honest with you, should be taboo. I mean, you should work for it. That way you'll derive more enjoyment out of the fishing experience and knowledge. And I know guys that are only coming down here for a week or a day or two just want fish. They don't care. They don't want to do the work and all that. I'm not trying to be degrading or anything, but that's the honest truth. You want to just come down. But in reality, good fishermen that are consistent at the canal, all of them, all the guys that write the books and everything, this is what they do. They spend years gaining knowledge, and you're not going to find that information. You're just not going to find it on any map. You just got you just got to get out there and fish, like fishing a pond or a lake. Some guys know every single rock and every single where the fish is staged throughout the time of year. No map's going to help you. You can get an idea of the area of fishing with the map, along with the map, but to actually catch the fish, you have to fish. That's the true key. A map will give you a general area of where the stuff is, but where the fish are and how it is, sometimes I get comments from viewers that, oh, the canal isn't so good. I went down there and I fished a few hours, and it's not that good. It's you came down, you fished 2 hours, and you didn't catch nothing, and then you're calling crap on the canal, and that's not true. You just have to put in the knowledge. You weren't at the right place at the right time with the right equipment and the right skill, and the more you do it, the better you get at, and the more consistent, basically, quote unquote, easy it gets. It's just that from that aspect, it's like any other kind of sport, hunting and fishing. A brand new hunter that goes out deer hunting goes out for half an hour and he doesn't catch anything, and he says, I hate this sport, it sucks. It doesn't suck. You get what I mean? So anyway, get you a map. They're really worthwhile thing. I mean, pay a little money for that. There isn't a map here that is, it's all under $20. Most are 15 and $10, and most of them are free. There you have it. That's today's map episode, just to give you an idea of what's available for these maps, and get as a tool to help you to fish. They're extremely useful. I mean, I've been fishing it my whole life, and there isn't a week that goes by during the fishing season that I'm not staring at this map, because I'm trying to just use logic and where to go and what, the time of year to match stuff in my brain, along with holes and certain techniques that I use that I've written down through the centuries. Yes, I'm getting older. Side notes. But you're gonna need that fishing license. Don't forget it, because Division of Fisheries and Wildlife come down here. They're all over this place, and rightly so. But it's I think it went up $5. It's $15. You need a Massachusetts fishing license, and please keep the canal clean. That's all. Just keep it clean, man. It's a beautiful place. You'll see when you get down here, but just please keep it clean. All right, off to spot check. So welcome to pre-spot check primer for 2025. And the reason what I'm saying is people that are new to this and this explanatory stuff that I do on the canal here, besides the fishing, it's called spot check. And I go to different spots all along the canal. And this is the visitor center, and it's in Sandwich. It's right along the canal. And if you go inside, 2 mandatory things if you're going to stick with this show and play along, basically. 2025 Cape Cod tables. And this is something new this year. They have a pro printed, I guess such demand, but it's called the Cape Cod Canal. It's basically a map in there it's more high-end and glossy than the ones that they used to have. They used to run them off a computer. So tide tables and canal map at the visitor center. It's all free, and these are essential to fishing the canal correct. Also, another huge tip: if you're fishing anywhere down the Cape on the National Seashore, any of these, what I'm showing you today, the Scussett Fish Pier, the Scussett Jetty, all these charge huge prices to park here. They're like $40 for the day, I think it is. $40. Look at this. So you got to be a senior, or you can buy them without being a senior. If you're over 58, I think it is. When I bought this, they were $10 for a lifetime pass. Lifetime pass for $10. Nowadays, I think they're about $80. But imagine that, $10. But you can park. They are crazy, especially on the Outer Cape. You think $40 to park here is a lot. On the Outer Cape, it's $60 on a lot of those famous beaches. All the ones that I go to for the surf fishing, they're all crazy. You just whip this out and hang it on the mirror and you're in it for free. So it's a huge investment. If you're from this state or you're going to be here for a long time, invest in one of these Department of Conservation and Recreation passes, man. They're really, really worth every penny. It's a steal for what you get. And so, welcome to Spot Check 2025 on the mainland side of the Cape Cod Canal. And it's a beautiful, picturesque area. This is the Scusset Jetty. And this is a magnificent fishing spot here along the mainland side. And this is the east end of the canal. This jetty is twice as long as the one on the Cape Cod side. The purpose of the jetties are to keep the sand from building up in the nor'easters. The predominant current that we get pushes the northeasters come from this direction and they push the sand this way. So Army Corps of Engineers designed these particular jetties to keep the sand from filling in the canal, so they have to dredge a lot less. Because of the jetties, the sand builds up on the left side of the jetty. But this is called the Scusset Fish Pier. You can catch every species of fish here for the most part. Stripers, bluefish, cod in the winter, flounder, summer flounder, mackerel, blackfish along the rocks in here, and whatever runs through here. You could probably catch, I would think, even pelagic fish out here. This is the entrance, so you know. Logically, I would think the best place to fish on here in the spring would, well, you can fish anywhere here, but as the fish are going to be migrating up this way, that's west, and they're coming from the south up the canal, and they're going to be hanging a left. Not all of them. A lot of them go that way towards Cape Cod, the hook of the Cape, but they head north for the most part, a lot of the biomass. So it'd be very cool to fish along in here for the stripers too. But when they're running, it really doesn't matter where you fish. There's so many of them, and the biomasses are huge. But it's a very picturesque area to fish. Spectacular fishing through here, literally world-class fishing. And you can see aesthetically how gorgeous it is. Now, there's a little insider tip. Well, not really an insider tip, but it's the Scusset Beach Campground. And I believe, I haven't checked, but I'll put my foot in my mouth and I'm willing to bet you can still tent camp there for, get this, $20 a night. You better check beforehand. I haven't checked in a few years, but they don't really go up in price there. But the big money is for those trailers. A lot of those stay there for weeks and months, but it's very inexpensive to camp there, and you're literally 30 steps from world-class fishing, and it's truly a beautiful spot. You can hear the bell. I doubt this camera's going to pick it up, but the bell from the entrance buoy to the canal, and it's just a gorgeous, calming sound. And so there you go. This is the first stop on the mainland side. It's called the Scusset Fish Pier. I mean, the Scusset Jetty. This is not the fish pier. By the way, there's another beach that goes along this way, and it's good for striper fishing too. Let's see what's making that racket. And it's called Scusset Beach, and it's a long beach that go this way. And then there's beaches all the way up and through there, but huge areas to fish are around that bend there at the height of the migration, and all along through here. And so there you have it, the first stop on the 2025 Spot Checks. So we are at Spot Check number 2 for the year. We're on the mainland side, and I've always known this as Scusset Creek, or the creek at Scusset, but I think technically it's called Bass Creek. I'm not sure, but it's the creek at Scusset. And you'll relate to what I'm doing here in a moment. Just to give you a reference, we're at pole 75 and we're heading west. And this is the outflow of it, Scusset Creek. So it makes this a phenomenal fishing spot. You would fish this like any estuary on the outgoing tide. And on the outgoing tide, all the bait from the creek flushes out, and all the bass just stage up along through here, and other fish, and feed. So the optimum time to fish this is obviously on the outgoing tide. Probably fishing on the incoming, I don't know. But yeah, there we go. As you can see, the tide's going in. So, but at slack, and then just as the tide starts to turn, it will flush all the bait fish and everything out of there. And this is a phenomenal fishing spot. You can see how quickly it drops off here too. Very sharp drop off there. And Scufford Creek on beautiful Cape Cod, just west of pole 75. And that would be this. And so, welcome to Spot Check. We are at pole 20 on the mainland side, and I have a case of striper thumb. The striper's roof of the mouth is very rough, and after you land a few of them, it just gets all torn up. But anyway, that was pole 20. What we're looking for is pole 18, which is 2 poles up. Simple to do. Just count the poles. Every 5 poles they're numbered. And the name of this hole is Good Hole. And it's a huge hole out here. I like working this on the west tide, because when you're jigging, the west tide will pull your lure right into that hole, and stripers stack up in that hole. It's called Good Hole, and it's this next pole right here. You really can't see any features, you just got to go by the pole numbers on this one. And that's Spot Check number 1. Welcome to Spot Check. So as we walk along, these are close together, so that's why I grouped them in 3s. That's pole 15, of course. We're going to pole 12, and this is one of the more legendary spots on the mainland side. So pole 12, and you can tell by this prominent point of land where the hole is. It's not a hole, it's a rip, and the outflow pipe. This is like one of the more famous spots on this side. It's Pip's Rip, pole 12. And guys wade out when the tide's a lot lower, and there's a massive rip that forms right in the middle there. And 2 currents collide, well, different currents colliding disorientate the bait fish, and the stripers stack up and they slay them here. This is really a good spot. And when the tide's a lot lower, you can see guys will wade right out there and easily become in castable range into the rip. You know, that's why long cast rods and reels are so important on this. This isn't wide by any means, but it sure helps. You know, like at this stage of the tide, you could still hit Pip's Rip if it was running. You can't even see the rip now. You can kind of see it, but when it's formed and there, it's like almost a standing wave at the right stage of tide on the moon tides, and most tides actually. And but that's where long cast comes in if you don't want to get your feetsies wet. So just but most guys just wade in there right off this point. So pole 12, Pip's Rip. And last one. All right, and we are at pole 50 now. By the way, I misspoke. Pole 18 is not called Good Hole, it's called Good Rip. And that's how I fish it. I fish it on the west tide, and that rip disorientates everything. And there is a hole there, and it drops down into it. It's called Good Rip, not Good Hole. There is other spots here called Good Hole. But this is pole 50 now, and this is called Murderer's Row. Murderer's Row. You can see the land formation. There's a bend there, and anytime you see a bend anywhere fishing, it's going to be fish here coming around those bends, and the bait fish get disorientated. This is called Murderer's Row because, from what I hear from the old timers, back in the 40s or 50s or so, this was there was a long period of time for a couple of years that this is one of the only spots that will really produce regularly on a regular basis. So they started calling it Murderer's Row. There's no murderer, any kind of illegality going on there. It's just called Murderer's Row because they slay fish here. And then after this, It's around pole 40. Those stanchions you see, those are called the dolphins. That's a sailor's term for a pier, basically, or pier posts. And a lot of tautog fish in there, and the drop-off's really great here. But that's called dolphins, and so that is these two, pole 50 and pole 40. So you got 4 here today. You got Pips Rip, Good Rip, Dolphins, and pole 50 here for Murderer's Row. So boys, welcome to Spot Check. And so in hindsight of this morning, I've been thinking about it on the ride over on this side of the canal. You know, about 9 hits, 2 fish landed, and probably the fish at least of the last 10 years for me. I mean, I've caught maybe about 8 to 10 different stripers between the 35 and 40 pound range, and I've never felt a fish like what happened this morning. Generally, after the initial run of about 4 or 5 seconds, you can turn the fish, or at least slow it down. This fish just kept going, so it was probably a once. You know, your imagination goes wild too. It was a 110-pound world record striper. Your ego gets up in there and everything. I'm also ashamed. I mean, I just like, I failed, but that's fishing. Now I got to dream of that, but that was truly, truly a big fish. I would not lie to you. It makes me sick. So anyway, we're at pole 68 on the mainland side of the Cape Cod Canal, and this is called the Scusset Beach Fish Pier. There's a lot of guys out fishing today, and it's a well-known fishing spot on this side. It's all prepared for you. You just go out on the pier and fish, and you can get a good cast right out to the middle of the canal. You can fish anything here, lures, bait, and they get everything here. You know, the fish coming by, there's a ton of birds working over here. But very popular spot. There's plenty of room here, and unless it's lights out fishing, you know, you generally follow the rules of the canal. You know, the canal protocol. You know, you take your turn and, you know, try not to cross lines and so forth. But very excellent fishing spot here, though it can get crowded sometimes when the fishing is good. So pole 68, and that would be this week's Spot Check. So all right, welcome to Spot Check. All dressed up with no hair to go. Nah, I'm not short on lettuce. I got plenty. So, guys that know the canal, remember we're on the mainland side, know this is a super familiar place. This is actually a favorite spot of Stan Gibbs, master lawmaker and absolute legend in the canal, and it's called the Stone Church, and it's pole 110. You can see it there, pole 110, and there's the Stone Church. But I mean, remember I told you the tip about the trails that lead down in? So this is a super famous hole on the mainland side, and what makes it cool is it's very quiet over here. You know, this is like the stretches on the Cape Cod side. It's one of the more quieter stretches, but doesn't take away from the phenomenal fishing that's here. So this is the Stone Church, pole 110. Big hole here, and a famous spot for dragging tons of stripers. By the way, it's an insider tip, but don't get caught. But if you want to daringly take a chance, look on your maps. It's called Savory Street, and if you're sneaky, you can park in there, and you can just hop right into the canal here. Don't get caught, though. I think they heavily ticket if you. I don't think they bother you at night, but there is limited spots. I'm sure that sign says no parking, but you're on your own. So I'm walking west on the mainland side. You can see the Sagamore Bridge straight ahead, and guys are asking always. It's like one of the most popular questions. Where is the best spots to fish? Where's the quiet spots? I don't want to fish around other people. There's tons of it. It's 7 miles, and for the most part, one spot is as good as another. They're schooling fish and they're moving with the tides and with the current and with the bait fish. And yeah, certain spots get hot like this morning, but that doesn't mean they're going to be there tomorrow. So you got to just get your line and lure and bait in the water. That's really pretty much it, and do it. There's a festive looking yacht. All our flags are flying. kind of like a houseboat. Very cool. And of course, here is the beautiful Sagamore Bridge. This is pole 132. This is the Sagamore West Recreation Area. Ample parking here, access within feet to the service road. 132. Now, last year we were on that side, of course, and all the bridge abutments are the same. There's holes on either side because the tide switches on either side. So, depending upon which way the tide's going, the current is going east now, so you would fish this east hole, or you'd fish on the other side of the hole. They stack up against the abutments, and as the fish come by, they jut out. And at nighttime, fish the shadows. There's a lot of light here, so the stripers stay in the shadows. And if you run your lure, your bait right along the shadow line, you'll find you'll catch tons of fish. Also, side scan sonar shows there's a ton of holes through here. Historically, this spot has so many different names. It's Estes. It's on the older maps. It's called Cod Hole, where apparently, you know, when the cod stocks were much higher, they would catch tons of cod here, and enough to be on all the maps. So that's pretty significant. It's called Friendly's parking lot, was because there's used to be an old Friendly's up in there, and we could park in there. But now they made this the Sagamore Sagamore recreation area. So there's plenty of room here. You could probably sneak a camper in here overnight without paying anything, but I don't think you should stay there because they'll probably be up on you. This place is heavily patrolled by the Divisions of Fisheries and Wildlife and, of course, the Army Corps of Engineers. So it goes against their rules, but you could do it. The guys definitely sleep in their cars. I've done it 1,000 times, you know. So Sagamore Bridge West, pole 132, great spot, access to the canal, and absolutely gorgeous. And we keep heading east. Or I misspoke, we keep heading west. The tide's heading east. I'm heading west. And so a little bit more remoter spot. There's no parking spots to get to this one. You got to walk, but it's not a bad walk in, not far. And it's pole 172, and as you can see, it's a popular spot. It's called Mussel Beds, and there's huge mussel beds here, which attract the stripers, of course. And if I was fishing here, I've never fished here, but I would totally use clams or mussels, obviously. You know, match the hatch, if you call that a hatch. But it wouldn't make sense to fish mac chunks. I'm sure you could, but it's mussel beds, you know. And so, but these guys are all bait fishing here, so it's kind of obvious they get the drift of it. So it's pole 172, mussel beds, and this is on the old maps and the new maps. It's been here forever. It's a great spot, quiet spot, and one more spot to go. And this is probably one of the most iconic spots to fish on the canal, besides the bridges and the railroad bridge and the two ends, the east end and the west end. But it is pole 195. It's the venerable herring run. And unfortunately closed to the harvest of river herring, except to the Indians. They get in here and they just take over. But this is the infamous herring run. When the herring are coming out a month or two ago, you can't get a spot here. It's literally everyone is shoulder to shoulder all the way around that bend and all the way down this way, hoping to hit a home run. But this is the infamous herring run on the Cape Cod Canal, one of the more famous spots here. And that would be this week's spot check. That's pole 190. And welcome to Spot Check. We are at pole 210 on the canal. And I want to kind of move down here a little because I don't want to disturb a guy that's fishing down here. But this is called Cod Hole. And it's an older name from the older maps. You may catch cod in the winter, but it's not the stocks are very low, and you know it's not impossible. But this is a famous cod hole in the winter, and it's right in front of that pole where he's fishing. He's right in there. As you can see, it's a popular spot. There's other guys that are out there fishing too. So well, it looks like he's got something. It looks like porgy. Yep. very good. And he's got a porgy. And so 210's almost directly across. If you see that big boulder, that's split rock on the right here on the Cape Cod side. That's split rock. So this is a holy area. Get it? Holy. Not spiritual holy, but there's a lot of holes here. And this is actually a very popular spot too, because if you see this curve, see how the curved in the canal, not only are there holes here, but on the inside of these curves, it gives the stripers and bluefish and every predatory fish grip. They push the bait into here along these inner turns, and they trap them. And that's why you see the fishermen here, and that's why the fish are here. So pole 210 is cod hole, and we're moving. So as I'm walking along the canal here, going to the next hole for spot check, I was thinking about this morning and those quality fish that I caught. I got two. I was blessed, and one was 27 and one was just a little over 32, which is just below the slot and just above the slot, as opposed to last week, just about every fish was slot. It's ironic, isn't it? The yin and yang of things. It's incredible. So a really good insider tip here is, remember what I was telling you? It took me a long time to learn, and I passed it on to you. You look for the trails that go down through wherever it's worn out. Well, from this perspective, look on the other side. See all those bare patches? They're all there for a reason. Those are all holes that are well known enough that they wore out the little grass, and you can see it along the whole stretch of the canal, albeit it's on that side. But they're easy to pick off. You can see them on the side that you're on. You just look. But you can really notice them here. And the wider and the more degraded they are, the better spot they are. But do you see that? That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're subliminal little clues on where really good holes are, or there might be a rip that builds there. And like that. Like, for instance, there's a great rip here. You can see it. But you keep your eyes open. All right, we are at pole 225, and this is an especially popular fishing spot here, between 225 and 226. But everyone, you just look at this wall. When you see this wall, this is the infamous cribbins. It's called the cribbins, or it's a slang for the cribbings, which is these rocks that are stacked up here to retain the land from falling into the sea, basically. But what's attractive here is immediately it goes down deep here, and there's blitzes here all the time. It's a well-known blitz spot. The predatory fish push the bait fish up against this, and extremely shallow, and they're blitzing away, and everything works here, bait and lures, and it's one of the more famous spots. So it's 225, and it's the cribbin. And so welcome to Spot Check. And the reason why I'm up here is to show you the access point to the location. This is a scenic viewing area. This is also the trailhead to 100 stairs, which leads you down to the next part of the canal after the cribbins. So this is it's pretty here, a nice view of it, but you ain't gonna fish from here unless you can cast like crazy. But pretty nice spot. But we're interested in fishing, so yeah, there's a sign that says trailhead to canal, and just walk along the trail to the canal, that's all. So this is where we came down from the parking lot, and this is, I'm pretty sure this is called Ridge Road. Oh, look at that, some type of, oh, it's just a crow. Ridge Road, and this runs pretty far. This comes in from Bourne Scenic Park, which is a campground up the ways, and then Canal Service Road, see? So this is where now you just got to bear in mind, if you catch fish like a hefty striper, you got to come up these steps. So this is just one way to do it. I'm not fishing here, I'm just the tour guide, but they're just showing you access points. And here you see the service road. And there's a few of these flights of steps that go up into Ridge Road into the Bourne Scenic Park. So, but here we are, and this is pole 235, just about where we left off. There's Cribbins way down at the end. If you went straight, you'd run right into it. And now we continue on west on our walk. So here's the steps we just came down, and as you can see, we're at pole 235. So pole 236, right in front of these steps, on the older map, you'll see an outflow pipe here, an old outflow pipe. It's drainage basically, but this is called Cod Hole also. There's about 3 or 4 holes here that are called Cod Hole. Old school, when the cod stocks were high, and you can see, I'm pretty sure you can see right here, but there's a huge drastic drop off way deep here, and they used to catch cod here, and I'm sure you could in the winter catch a stray cod, but not like you used to. And so pole 236, Cod Hole. It's right at the base of the steps. And also, as a note, there's a nice looking sailboat. As I mentioned last week, you see all the worn out areas? Those are all rips and holes. So just keep your eyes open. And that's a great tip right there, but you can really see where the holes and rips are through those worn out areas. And so, just as a reminder, you go to the visitor centers. They're all over. Bourne Scenic Park, the East End, that's the one of the main visitor centers, the Herring Run, and you get the fishing maps. And all these spots that I'm showing you are the named major fishing spots on the map. And there's nothing secret about these holes. They're well known. I'm just giving you visual indications of how to access them and what knowledge that I know about each hole. But there's nothing secret about these holes. These are common holes on both sides of the canal that fishermen have used since the canal's been here. So you need the fishing map. Get the fishing map. You can visualize it a lot easier if you just get that simple map. They probably have it online too. All right, and this is spot number 2, possibly 3. So 255 is that pole. And so 253, it's right in the middle of these trees. And this is called High Bank. And this has got everything. This has got holes and side scan sonar. There's tons of holes through here. And then also there's a massive rip. If you look on that side, right directly where I'm pointing, that's the old radar tower on the Cape Cod side. And huge rip, standing wave right here. So this is in front of radar tower on this side, and that's 100 steps on that side. I'll bring you down there in a minute. But this is High Bank. Very popular spot. Nice trees. You can get up in there, and kind of flattens out here too. But and that's it, 253 right there, that pole. But as you can see, it's pretty daggone steep up there. But it flattens out nice here, nice fishing spot. And by looking at someone's trash, idiots that have been using the spots, keep it clean. So here is 255. Now technically, that's 100 stairs. It's called 100 stairs because there are freaking 100 stairs. So bear that in mind when if you catch stripers down here, you're gonna go up those stairs. Going down's easy. Coming up, it's kind of, but through the Bourne Scenic Park, the road that runs lengthway along the canal, you can access those stairs right there. And what the feature of hundreds is a point that goes out. There's mussel beds in here, but that point at a low tide goes way out and it gives you a longer casting distance. Same with here. You can see some of these points that go out, and you can kind of wade out there if you want. You know, I'm not a wading guy in the canal. I get in there if I have to, but normally I don't. I do it for money. I bet people when I was young and stupid that I could swim it, and I just wait till slack and swim it. If you can't swim that, then you're an idiot, but you can win a lot of money. But I never said that, and I never did it, actually. I'm only kidding. Yeah, sure. So anyway, that's this week's spot checks. So you got 100 stairs, High Bank, and the scenic observation access area all along the canal here as we head westbound on the mainland side. And I hope you like this part of the show and had some fun this morning. Slow pickings, but I picked up 2 and I ain't complaining by any means, even if I don't get nothing. It's just great to get down here. Look at that thing. It looks like a saguaro cactus. It's some type of wildflower, but we don't have cactus up here. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and all right, welcome to Spot Check. It's easy to levitate over. This is pole 310, and this is Bourne Scenic Park. It's a huge campground. It's $8 for the day. You can just go in there and fish all day long. They give you like a pass thing. I'm pretty sure that that pass that gets you in the fishing pier by the DCR, remember I was telling you about that, that is good here too. But anyway, so this is called Bourne North at 310. And same with all the other sides. There's tons of holes on this side, according to side scan sonar. And you fish both of these sides depending upon the tide. Like the tide's going that way, the fish will be here in front, and they get the fish that are coming down this way. And that's the same for anywhere on the abutments to the bridges. But and you can see you can get right in there, although this is being low tide right now, but you can notice that the access is pretty close on this side. But pole 310, and this is Bourne Scenic Park. There's all kinds of camping. You could put a space shuttle in there. It's huge. There's a main road in the center of the park. It's called Ridge Road, and it goes all the way down, almost down to 100 steps, and close to High Bank. And it's access for it's a good mile or mile and a half that will give you access. They have stairs that come down here, so this is a major area access point for fishing on the Cape Cod Canal. Bourne Scenic. So pole 310 is here. 311, 312. This is pole 312. This spot here, you get a smorgasbord of everything. It's called, they catch flounder here, tautog, cod, and all kinds of meat fish all along through here. As you can see, it's relatively shallow, then it drops out. The shallow is going to attract the flounder, and it's a deep hole here. There's a series of probably 7 or 8 holes. Here's the Coast Guard. I'd like to borrow their side scan sonar, but this is very accessible for fishing, and you'll get everything that swims in the canal here for the most part. You know, it just depends on your luck. Busy day here on the canal. I don't know why, but there's tons of people out. Pole 312. So in the campground itself, you can see there's plenty of access. You can wiggle your way around these roads through in here and get access and parking along this edge of the canal, all along the Bourne Bridge, probably a mile and a quarter that way, probably 3/4 of a mile this way. So it's a very accessible way to get to fish. So around 323, walking along the service road, you'll notice on this side there's a tidal creek, and if you're looking for bait, it's probably set your minnow traps up in there if you're looking for smaller type bait and all that. But that's a tidal creek, and plan on slogging over to it if that's your thing. Fat Tony. So 325, and you can see I don't even have to say anything for this. As the tide's up, all kind of stripers. That's what stripers live in, that kind of stuff. And then now here at low tide, you can see the access. Bring your corkers or your spikes, but look at the rip that's right in front of that prominent point, you know. And at different stages of the tide, there's different flows of the rip. So that would be a fly fishing dream right there in the course of the drop off. And this is 326. That's what this is. This is pretty cool. I'm surprised there's no one fishing there now. Check the setup for fly fishing at this angle. Tell me that isn't perfect. Rock stayed out on, current, drop off, that is crazy. And lastly, this is pole 330. And this is called Old Bridge. Apparently there was an old bridge planned to be put here, or was here, but it's always been called Old Bridge. And this is stripers and bluefish. And you can see the access you can get from just the regular streets. And you can pull right in. They have a nice parking area that you can use. And there's
Let's go to where that dog is right now.
looking at my toolbox, bottom left hand drawer. Just wanted to show you this. This is a map of the canal, and this is where we're at right here. So here's the Bourne Bridge, and we're right now, we covered that area. That's the point that I just showed you, and right here is Old Bridge. But so stripers and blues on this one. So scored a nice striper today, happy with that. Clouds moved in, but it's nice and cool for lawn mowing. This is Old Bridge right here, and hope you like it this week. All right, and welcome to Spot Check. We made it over to the other side, and I want to show you something. I was just seriously robbed. I was robbed. I went, normally at this time I stop at the bait shops to get bait, and usually I buy usually at least 8 mackerel. So I bought 8 mackerel, and these look like they're food grade. I mean, they're really, the way they're packaged, they're really nice, pretty looking, everything. 8 mackerel. Take a guess how much? $28. $28 for 8 mackerel. So it's like, what, 8 threes are 27, $3 a piece, I'd say. But I mean, that's crazy. 8 freaking mackerel. I mean, geez, if they were running, that's incredible. I won't name the bait shop, but God, man, I don't know if it has anything to do with Labor Day. He said he had to go into Boston to get them, and he couldn't find any or whatever. He gave me this song and dance, but it's $28 for 8 mackerel. Unfreaking real. Anyway, on to Spot Check. Normally $20 maximum. That's high. This big old yacht. You see now all the boats are starting to come out. It's approaching the middle of the day. So I pulled in at Old Bridge. See how you can get here? You can come right off the main drag. Come right out to Old Bridge, right up in here. Very quiet spot. And I introduced you to this spot last week. The tide's coming up to be high now, so you're not going to see the points that we saw last week. But I'll show you the next. And so, as you can see, it's pole 335. You can see the railroad bridge in the distance, and directly way back in front of that is the so we are between the designated spot check is between 338 and 340, and you can see there's a mural here in this utility building, and this is called Playland. Well, this is the place out on the main drag called Playland, but this is the back of it, and this is a huge hole here, very popular spot, wide open. There's no shade, but you're here for the hole, not for the shade. But between 338 and 340, and this is famous, of course, for stripers, but also bluefish are known to habitate this particular spot. So 338 and 340, Playland. Alright, so we made it on the other side. Welcome to Spot Check. So this is kind of, I'll just come right out and explain it to you, that the poles that we use as the guidelines between, last week we left off at Playland, which is 345, but now we're interested in pole 360, which is called the coal yards. And this is the coal yards, but the poles, they're not here. They're just not, they're not in use like they normally all over the rest of the canal. They're just, so you go by these light poles, and it's between 357 and 360, and it's the coal yards, it's called. And so what this is there's points as we approach the railroad bridge that come out here at low tide that you can get out on. And with side scan sonar, there's a series of holes here at the coal yard, and it's an amazing fishing spot. It's really good. It's been around forever and ever. This ain't one of the new spots. It's one of the old. Obviously, there's no coal yard here, so. But this is the coal yard, 357 to 360. And that will wrap up this week's spot check. And in hindsight on today's fishing, 3 fish caught, 1 swing and a miss, but 2 were caught on the normal hook and 1 was caught on the bigger hook. And that's really not conclusive enough to say that the bigger hooks are better, but I didn't have any problems with the bigger hook, let's put it that way. But as far as the ratio to hookups, it was 2 on the small and 1 on the big. So maybe I'll continue it next week. I'll consider doing that. So with that, all right, we have levitated to the other side, and this is an iconic spot on the canal. It is the Fisherman, a tribute to the past, present, and future striped bass fishermen in the Great Cape Cod Canal, inspired by a local fishing legend, none other than Stan Gibbs. And this guy has invented so many lures that are still around today, and the style of the lures, and it's just quite incredible how much this guy's contributed. And he's got 2 stripers on him. Look at that, it's kind of cool, you know. Back when we could keep 2. You know, but anyway, we're here at Spot Check. It's all kind of, I guess they're like donation kind of remembrances. But look at the custom work on the sidewalks. They got little, pretty good. I mean, really nice. A little striper guy. Really detailed. This is real art. It's quite a place to visit, and it's right on the canal. And this is where we're headed for the spot check. Buzzards Bay Recreation Area. And this is the infamous railroad bridge. And this is today's spot check. And you can see how these rips form right here. And extremely popular spot. People come just to see this marvel, the railroad bridge. And if you notice, there's a theme here along the canal. Every one of these bridges has a huge recreation area, so you can sleep over in your car. You might chance putting a small camper in there overnight, but I doubt you get away with it. But if you can see on the other side, that's the recreation area on that side. That's world famous over there. That's the one that's on. Everyone loves to go to. A lot of problems over there too, but the mud flats are over there. But this is the railroad bridge. And different times, on different tides, you would of course fish the abutments like instructed on the other bridges that either side the fishes stage outside of the current and wait for the bait fish to come through. So just got a couple guys fishing here. And so this is pole 384. It's very tough to access this area. This is the Corps of Engineers field office. And it's pole 384, that's 385, so 384 is down here, but you'd have to access it technically legally by Mass Maritime and walk along the water's edge. And what makes this a great spot is nobody gets up in here. You know, the access is very tough in here, but if you stay along the water line, guys don't want to do the work to do it, but it's fantastic fishing up in there. And it's called Army Corps of Engineers, or the field office, basically. And maybe if you get friendly with the guard, he'll let you fish off that pier if you ever wanted to. But the thing is that the access is what makes this almost inaccessible. You can access it, but it takes work, that's all. And there's stripers galore. So I hope you appreciate this show. And welcome to Spot Check on the other side, on the mainland side. There's a beautiful shot of the railroad bridge and the Bourne Bridge from this angle. But we are at the world famous, world class mouth to the canal, which is called Mass Maritime Academy. This is a military training facility, and all kind of bottom structure here to fish, every kind. attracts every kind of fish that's available in the canal. You got boulder fields along through here. You can fish off that wall where that dock is towards the end. And there's flat sandy areas in certain areas that you could probably pull up some flounder. I've never fished for flounder here, but that's a secret that will be revealed next week. And this is the access is all along this road here called Academy Drive. And guys, this is fully surf fishing. I mean, you know, you can set up right along here, bring your lounge chairs, put your sand spikes in, and just like you're on a beach. But it's the entrance to the canal. Buzzards Bay is right out there. That's exactly where Buzzards Bay is. That's the other side of the railroad bridge. The mud flats are over there, and that's all private property there up to the water line. You can walk along the beaches, but they don't like it, but there's nothing they can do. But anyway, so fishing this, access from Academy Drive, and just set up your lounge chair and your sand spikes and your picnic lunch and lets the kids play and pull in stripers and every kind of fish that's in here. It's a really nice spot. It's world class, easily accessible, but it can get crowded. But it's a really good fishing spot. It's the mouth of the canal. You know, that's west side, and that's heading east. And Buzzards Bay is to the west here, and this is the entrance where the stripers will enter the canal, and all the other fish for that matter. And so that's this week's spot check, and hope you like this one. And kind of unusual turnout this week. Last week I got 2 stripers and 1 blackfish. This week I got 1 blackfish and 2 stripers. So I mean, no, just the opposite. I got 2 blackfish and 1 striper this week, and 1 blackfish and 2 stripers last week. That's what I meant to say, but my feeble mind couldn't engage. But anyway, so please like and subscribe. All right, and welcome to Spot Check. We are, of course, at the Mass Maritime Academy military training facility on the canal. This is the training ship. It's massive, big, it's got everything. Look at those lifeboats, very interesting, very huge, well equipped, as well it should be. This thing probably, you know, hundreds of guys working on that thing. I don't know about hundreds, but a lot. But anyway, Mass Maritime, last spot. This is the Flanagan Hall admissions. I ain't admitting nothing. All right, so in this area, see this gentleman's going in fishing all through here. It's flat. You can get flounder here in the spring because the flounder seat, muddy, soft, shallow, warm water, warmer than the rest of the area to spawn, and you'll get flounder here. And then, of course, anywhere along and through there, you get stripers and everything else the canal has to offer. And this is a great shot. I gotta get a new camera. Once I get actual real money coming in on this channel, I'm gonna get some really nice camera equipment so I can zoom and all that there. But anyway, Buzzards Bay. It's just the entrance to the canal. This is the west end. That's a beautiful shot of it. And this all along, you can't fish in here legally, you know. Well, you could. You can fish off. You can go in here when there's no ships docked here. A lot of times that ship is docked in there, but there's holes all the way down through here till about halfway down, and it gets relatively shallow. And current is cranking now. But so that will be it. I have covered the whole mainland side. I don't think there's anything on the web that anyone else has done that has covered the whole canal from the Cape Cod side and the mainland side. And the purpose of this video was to be using in conjunction with the map that's available at the field offices, all the spots that are named on that, and it's been covered through this series. So whether you're a beginner or advanced angler, I hopefully was able to give you information about fishing on the canal. And with that, I'm going to close this, and let me know below in the comments whether you want to see me concentrate on different species as I fish or just stick with stripers. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you guys for subscribing to this channel, all the Canal rats, and really appreciate it, man. I had a lot of fun bringing this series to you. It's a lot of fun this summer. I had a good summer down here, as always. You can't have a bad summer down here on the Cape Cod Canal. So upcoming is going to be pheasant hunting and deer hunting, and you know, the changing of seasons and all that. But you'll still catch me maybe an episode or two coming down here and seeing how the migration's doing. So thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to say your prayers. Thank you. And God has blessed America.